again, this question will take a lot of time for me to understand, for everyone to understand, as well as the demo is not so big, so anyone here who has used telemetry by any way, I can see on the chat, let us see. I think App Insight, yes, logging and thing, but what exactly it is, what is telemetry? Two people have said yes, so good to see that, Amit, via App Insight. Yes, and telemetry is logging thing, yes, absolutely. Specifically for when you're developing things with ASP.NET Core and applications, if you have applications, you want to track telemetry information, right? So first thing, when I wanted to learn telemetry, right, I googled, for the definition of telemetry, frankly, so because I had no idea what exactly is telemetry, right? So telemetry means it is a collection of measurements of other data at remote points. I think that is very important, at remote points. I hope, Questmon support, you have started recording, is it? I hope, can you just ensure? Have you started recording? Yes. Just put on the chat, or if you want, you can speak on the screen, on the mic if you want. Please start recording. Yes, okay, thank you very much. So if, first thing what I did is I Googled about telemetry. This is some months back, I was doing something. So it is nothing but it is measurement of definitely a lot of metrics, a lot of things, as someone said, tracing information, debugging information, performance information, right? But also from remote points. If you see very, very quickly, there are 2 or 3 important things out here. First thing, there is debugging. Then there is tracing, right? And now we are talking about telemetry, right? Debugging is debugging. You open Visual Studio, you do F5, you check your bugs, you check your add watch window, quick watch window. For this, you need Visual Studio. You need that environment completely. Tracing is more on the production level, right? Saying that, okay, like method 1 is executed, method 2 is executed. So basically you can use the system.diagnostic trace information and you can log in trace, right? But remember that this tracing thing only works for the current application. Now we are talking about telemetry, wherein I am saying that there is application 1 who is calling application 2 and application 3. Now I want to, this application 3 who is out here, he wants to trace, what happened till the first application. So one is he wants to trace himself, like, saying that this is this. And second, he also wants to trace probably Okay, everyone able to hear me? I'm sorry, something shook my mic out there. Questmon support, please help me. Yeah, okay. So coming back, I'm sorry, my hand just moved, and so we have debugging, we have tracing, we have telemetry. Telemetry is more advanced level kind of thing, wherein we are talking about not only the current calls. For example, you want to say method 1 has been called or method 2, but you want to also trace remotely. So if you see that definition out there, which I've Googled, right, it says that from remote data points and so on, right? And Azure, it is possible, right? You have a virtual machine. That virtual machine is calling an SQL server. So you have ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core is calling a web API, and then that web API is calling an SQL server. Now you are having so many resources and you want to do telemetry, right? That is one point. So let's take a simple ASP.NET Core application, and this is my demo for today. First, let us go ahead in the ASP.NET Core and enable telemetry, and then we will see that how to see this telemetry information. Also, very quickly, so I will go ahead. I will create an ASP.NET Core application and web application 4. It is fine, whatever is the name. And in this, we want to go and enable telemetry. So let the application get created. So I'll just create this. Now, also, I want to talk about one very important concept here called as application insight. I think, in the previous classes, I discussed about it. But application insight is like, where you can see everything, what happens in your Azure, or you can catch it. So for example, now, over here, I'm sending this telemetry information. So I can go and I can send this telemetry information to application insight. Application insight is, you can think about a service in Azure, right? And this service, what it does is, it actually helps you to track things, and then you can go and you can use Excel on this, you can use Power BI, and you can go and see that what is happening. So application insight is nothing but, wherein all the application can send telemetry information to this application insight, and this application insight can view it. You can view through this one thing, that what kind of information are coming from various places, right? So what I will do is I will create an ASP.NET Core application. So let me try to do this. So I will try to create a simple ASP.NET Core application. And this I will host in an app service. Now, please note, people who are new to Azure, I would suggest to please go and watch the Azure series out there. So this I will host it in an app service. And in this app service, I will enable telemetry. So I will send some information like page loaded or this loaded or something, and this we will then catch it in application insight, right? And we will see it on the browser, right? So that's the goal out here. And then we will try to answer this question. You can see this question is AZ204's question, which talks about that your ASP.NET Core is calling another dependency, then what should you choose, right? But first thing, I should teach you telemetry, right? So first let me talk about telemetry, and then I will talk about this dependency tracking, right? So here is my Azure application. Now, first thing, to enable telemetry, you have to go and add the Nugget package of telemetry. So I'm going to go to manage Nugget packages and I will add telemetry. I can see one question out here. Sir, can we do telemetry in MVC5? Yes, absolutely. You can do telemetry in MVC5 as well. It's not a problem. Let me go and I can see that again let's see. Web application 3. Let me guys quickly check. I can see so many telemetry out there, telemetry correlation. I want to just download them. I want to refer the main Nugget telemetry. Let me quickly open my project. I'm so sorry for this. That namespace. So first thing is I will refer whatever is the namespace. Second, in my, I have to go and create a telemetry application or application insight onto online, right? So guys, I'm on this thing, because this small sample is out there with me. So I can just check once. I don't want to make a mistake out there. I know that I have to refer application insight, but there is an application insight and there is telemetry also. I don't want to make a mistake out there. Okay. Somebody is sending me information. I can use that. Yeah, tracing. I can see some question out there. See, tracing is only inside the application. In telemetry, you can do both. Telemetry is very specific to Azure. Huh? Yes, it is very, somebody asked me a question. Telemetry is very, very specific to Azure. So remember like one of the important things is, if you're using all these things in your project, like telemetry and function apps, you are getting a bit tied up with Azure more and more. And tomorrow, due to some reason, if you feel, I'm sure that that reason will not arise. But if something, Microsoft thinks about to jack up the price or to do something, you should be aware of it. I'm sure Microsoft won't do such kind of moves, but at the end of the day, if you want to move away from Azure, you won't, because your code is, using telemetry and all, right? So what happened? This is, oh, I will take this one, application insight, for now. Core functionality for insights of telemetry. Right, so I'm going to go and take that. That other Visual Studio is not opening at all. I'm not sure what happened. Okay, application 4 is there. Okay, let me see, installed one. No. Fine. So application telemetry is what I'm installing. Right. Now, second thing is also let us go ahead to our Azure portal and uh, let me go and create an app service and let me host it in that, right? So very quickly, I'll create an app service. I'm very afraid of the blue screen. So very quickly, I'll just create an app service, create a resource out here. And this is my Questpond app, runtime 3.1. Sir, select Java. No, I'm not selecting Java. I don't know Java. So I'm sorry, Questpond is a full Microsoft shop. Create. So there it is submitted for deployment. So very good out there. Something bad happened in this application 3. I'm going to go and close it. I don't want any kind of issues. Right. Right. So this is my application Insight, which has been installed out here. Right. Now, the first thing is to enable telemetry. I have to go here to services.add and I have to add telemetry. Uh, uh, let me open my notes. I have to open web application 3. There are only 2 lines of code I need to know. One is that I have what telemetry I need to add. And second, in the application config file, I need to go, okay, now it is opened. As first thing I would like to really check is the dependencies, because I just want to make sure that my dependencies, yeah, that is right. So application insight, so that is right. Now you can see here in this, I have added this add application of telemetry. So that is the first code I need to enable. So I'm going to go and put this. Try to take this code at the top of add controllers and views, because that kind of sequence he is expecting. So so here I will need to add the references. What is happening? Suggestions are not coming up. I can let me check. Microsoft Application Insights. Oh, Microsoft Application Insight ASP .NET Core. I knew that. This is one of the biggest challenges we'll be facing here. Microsoft Application Insight. There's 2 minutes. I have imported some wrong namespace, I think. No, wrong nugget. Installed one. Microsoft Application Insight.asp.NET Core. Yes, where is it? That's what it is. So I think let me see if somebody's giving me some hints out there. Okay. You know what? I have installed some wrong namespaces out there. See, Application Insight is right. Please give me some suggestions. He did not add application inside ASP.NET Core. I'm not sure why. Let me see. It's so bad. I don't see this is the right namespace. There's nothing wrong in this. Sorry. And in the startup.cs file, yeah, guys, give me 2 minutes. I understand. I'm going to search exactly now. This is so bad, like these namespaces are all getting confused out here. Oh, I exactly searched it. Yeah, so I'm sorry for this. So basically, you need to go ahead and use the application inside.asp.NET Core. I'm just trying to install that. They have, one is Microsoft Application Insight, which is for everything. You can use it not only for .NET Core, but for everything, right? But here specifically, I need .NET Core because from .NET Core, I need to go and put my applications, right? So yes, I've started installing it. Give me 2 minutes. So that is one part, right? Once I do this, right, the second part is also, which we need to do is, once that website is, the application has got created out here, this correspond app service, whatever is out here, it also has telemetry, application insight. So if you see here, if I, for example, if I go and say search for application insight, one is you can go and create a new one. Remember, application insight catches telemetry, right? But you can see by default for correspond app, he has created one application insight, right? So what I will do is, through my ASP.NET Core, I will write telemetry information to this correspond app, right? So to this application insight. Remember, the telemetry information is written to application insight. So application insight is this. And then later on I can go, once I start seeing data, once I start sending him telemetry information, I can go to live metrics. I can see live what is happening to your app. Currently, I don't have an app actually. But in case I have it, so he will show me live data out here. He will show me search. I can search in last 24 hours what happened and so on, right? And to send telemetry information, we need to use the instrumentation key. This instrumentation key, this value is needed so that from your ASP.NET Core, you can send applications, right? So now let us go back out there. So there it is, it's installing. I accept. I'm sorry for this mess. Right, so now I can see that ASP.NET Core telemetry, it did not come in the search. Like, I'm expecting this nugget search as like Google. So I want him to be like Google. So there it is. This is application insight telemetry is now, right? Okay, good. The second is, in the app settings.json file, you need to go and put that key, because that key is the, is the value which you need to put. So in the application, in the app settings.json, we need to do the following. So we need to go and put telemetry instrument in a application insight key with some kind of code like this. You have to exactly like this, application, A capital insight, and your key, right? So I'm going to go back here and I will say comma, and this is the key. Definitely I need to put my key, what I have at this moment. So I'll go and I will copy this key and I will just put it out here. So step 2, I have added the instrumentation key to my ASP.NET Core, right? And that's it. Now I can go and I can publish this. So let me go and publish this website. For now, by default, I have not written any custom telemetry code. Like, let's say I want to write a code saying startup.cs started. Add services is done. index page ran constructor. I can put that as well, but at this moment I just want to go ahead and host it. So I'm going to go and go to my account out here and let us host it into this Questpond app. So I'm going to go and do an OK, and I will try to publish it, right? So 2 steps I have done, 3 steps. First, in my ASP.NET Core, I have added a Nugget package. Remember, it is application inside.asp.NET Core. Second, into my services.add, I went ahead and I enabled application insight. Third, in the app settings, whatever is the key of that application insight where I want to send my telemetry, I added everything out there, right? So once that is done, now what will happen is, by default, there are some default telemetry information which is sent. Like for example, how many requests has occurred. If somebody sends a request, if somebody sees a view, if somebody does something, right? So there are some basic things you already track. So basically now what will happen is, by default, those basic things I should be able to see it, right? So guys, any question on how to enable telemetry, right? Yeah, thank you, Bhuvnesh. I just got the proper name. Yes. So sorry, for that mess. Yeah, it's Divesh. I'm so sorry for that mess out there. Can we push telemetry via Log4net or other logging tools? Yes, you can. You can register Log4net as one of the telemetry applications, and you can do it. You can do it also through your normal trace.log also, right? So here it is, guys. You can see here now, this is the application which is running. I can just hit him 2 and 3 times, just go to the home page. You can see now my Questpond app Azure website is running out here. I can just go here, there, and everywhere. And now let us go to here to telemetry. So for example, I can go and see the live metrics first thing. So it's connecting to your app. And you can see this is the incoming request. I would like everyone to watch for this out here, right? You can see there is no incoming request out here, no shoots out here, right? But I know now I'll go quickly and refresh like 3-4 times, tick, 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 tick. Now I should see some shoots. You can see all those shoots out there, small shoots out there, right? So it says that the live tracking of the telemetry request is happening by default. And also you can see some other requests are also getting tracked, right? So this you can see, so this is the live way of looking at it, right? But I'm sorry, if you want to go and exactly see like 30 requests or 40 requests, we would like to go and see into each one of these requests, what was the header sent and so on, right? So that's where we have search out here. And in this search, I will just go and refresh for the last 24 hours, what happened, refresh. Now remember that this here, it takes some time, for requesting. For example, now I've sent this on 21/26, so which is like 9/27. I'm not sure, right? So it will take some bit of time, to now you can see 16 requests. Must be I've refreshed, right? Remember this. Okay, somebody would be wondering, oh, why like the 16 requests? So you can see here, some request is home/index. And then if you see some of the requests is the JS files. For example, you can see home/privacy, favicon icon, you can see out here. And so I can go now for each one of these requests and I can see that what it has done and so on, right? So this is the basic of how to enable telemetry in ASP.NET Core and how to see the same on application insight. So any questions on the basic part? If you have any questions, you can put down on the chat. Right, so can you repeat once again? So very quickly, I'll just go through, Kumar. What we are trying to do is, we have hosted an ASP.NET Core application on Azure. So from here, I want to send telemetry information saying that, did the login happen? Did the page load or something, right? And this will be logged into application insight. This application insight is a service of Azure, please note, right? So what you will do, step 1, in this ASP.NET Core application, first step, you will add that reference of application insight MVC core. Don't forget that. I was like puzzled what happened out there, right? Second, in the services.add, you will add and enable that application insight, right? And third, you will go and use the application insight key and you will put it in the app settings.json file. And that's it. After that, you will see the basic telemetry information, right? Now, also let me talk about also like, so what if I want to put some custom thing like, page load happened or so on, right? So that's where, we can go ahead and dependency inject the telemetry. So you can see here, this code out here, I can go and say telemetry client. So let me do that. Let me go to my application. So let's say now when I hit my index page, I want to just say hello or send some information out there, right? So first thing in MVC core, everything is dependency injected. Please note every Tuesday we are doing MVC core Angular lecture. So please do try to attend it. So that is telemetry client. I will inject this. And what we can, again, that is a part of application insight. Must be we can create one private local variable because we need to refer it, right? So by default, uh, the telemetry object is injected because you have already said add and so on, right? Now let us say over here, I want to go and I want to write some telemetry information. So I can say now underscore t dot track event. So let's say I want to send some value out here. This index page has been called hello from index. And let me also put some date and time so that we can. So now what will happen is, every time I hit the index page out here, it will send out a telemetry information, which is a custom telemetry information. Please understand, right? So I'll just build this application. I will just host it. And let us see that does this custom telemetry information, is it sent to the to our application inside of Azure? And again, I'm publishing a new code base out there. So publish. Okay, I can see a question out here that what about other things, like Java or so on, right? Good question. I will need to check, from Java how I can send it to application insight. But I think, there should be something given in Java to send an information to application insight. I need to check that. I'm not aware of it. I can understand your concern because from ASP.NET Core we can do, but what about, from PHP and so on? But I'm sure that there should be a way to do it. So you can see, guys, again, I can just refresh. Must be we should be able to call this telemetry or application insight through REST API. I feel so, right? I did not check it, but do have a look once again. But from .NET, it is very easy, right? Nugget. You can see I've refreshed this index page 2-3 times out here. And with that, I'm expecting, so let me refresh. And here I should see some custom event. Now, please note that the last refresh happened on 9/26. If you remember, I said that it's not like a hit counter. You refresh and you see it, right? So must be up. Let me refresh once again. 9/26 still. 9/26. So once I get the new request over here, you can see by default he has logged in some request and so on. I should see custom. So that custom will have that hello and other things, Can't I see it like very quickly? Then you have to go to the live and do it. And live does not show too much details out here, And here I can search and so many things out here. Okay, so I will refresh after some time. We will see the custom event, custom message, right? But any questions at least how to go and enable or how to go and put on custom telemetry value, or custom telemetry event, like tx.track event. And there are lots of other methods also. I will not go into that. Yes, it is application level tracing. Yes, yes. More than monitoring tool, you can say it's a monitoring tool, but as the name says, application insight, it just gives a name. It just talks about how much time your request has been sent to your application. So it is more about inside the application, how it is working. It talks about that. So it does not monitor himself. Huh? Somebody sends the information to him, then he logs it. But application insight does not come into your application and starts putting some code out there. That is not there, right? Let me once again refresh this. I hope so. I should be able to see 26. Now it is 70. So that is good. So now let us see, somewhere we should see custom. Oh, no custom. index page I hit. I'm not sure why I did not see my, didn't I write in the index code? Index. That's where I've written it. Must be I did not go to the home page. And I written it in the index action. Index action. And by default, the index should be called, right? This is index. Home/index, is it? As I don't know if that is getting called home/index. I was expecting him to zoom. Yep. Yeah, there it is. You can see custom event. That's how it should be seen. I don't know why it took so much time to show it. So all those green signs. So if you go to the custom event, you can see hello and some from index and this, right? Custom telemetry. So yeah, for retaining the telemetry, if you see, there is somewhere, in application insight, there is somewhere, how much time you want to retain it. So it does also have that property. So I think by default, I don't know, I've never tracked events which are 1 month back, but somewhere, there was time also given, and you can change that also. You can say that I want to track the metrics for a long time. So somewhere there, so one is you can give it custom, but second, I never actually tested it that, but at least I think the last application which I was tracing application insight, I was able to trace back 15 days. I did not do anything abnormal out here. So upfront, I don't remember, but there was a property where you can go and change it, saying that this application log should be there for a long time, but you will be charged for it. You need to understand it. And the second is 15 days, at least I've seen it tracks it. I'm not sure about if it tracks much more than that. So Prabha, I don't remember it, like how much time it tracks, so how can we push the inside data to another thing like power? So you can see here, if you see here, there are lots of ways to export this data. You can also connect to your application insight, and you can go ahead and you can apply Power BI and so on. So if you want to go and connect, one is that if you see here, there is a search, right? One is what you can do is, you can see there is a connection string out here of telemetry, right? So you can use this connection string, and you can actually go and you can connect to the telemetry, and you can take things. But you can also connect through normal tools like Power BI and so on, and you can do things. Okay, very quickly now, let us go back to that question. I think this is the most important part. Must be we can have a separate telemetry section altogether, sometimes later. Let us understand this question, because I want you to also understand dependency, right? So here I will go and I will let us full screen snip this, and let us try to answer this question. Okay. You are developing an ASP .NET Core web API service. So there is a web API service. The web services uses Azure Application Insight. So this web API services sends telemetry information to your this one, right? Uses for all telemetry and dependency tracking. Dependency tracking means if this web API is calling, let us say, SQL server, then that also I need to track here, right? That's what he's saying, right? Or this web API is calling some WCF service, then these dependencies also should be tracked, right? So you need to ensure that the dependency tracking work the web service reads and writes. Remember, when he says web service means web API. I don't like that word web service, because that web service takes me to 2003, right? But that is web API, and writes data to a database other than Microsoft SQL Server. So it can be SQL Server, it can be anything, PostgreSQL, so it is fine. You need to ensure dependency tracking works for all the three one. So in your code, in ASP.NET Core, what will you use? Will you use this, right? So first thing, the answer is very clear. I'll tell you the answer, and then we'll discuss only on the answer. telemetry ID and context operation ID, right? Now the other ones which you see out there, this cloud role instance is related more to the cloud thing. Means this role instance is what, like it is virtual machine 1 where it is hosted and so on. So this is not there. By name you can't track because name can be duplicate, right? So this is gone. And session ID is for something else. Session ID has nothing to do with dependency, right? Now this dependency tracking, let me open up two nice articles over here. One article is this of Medium. I will go and I will put it on the chat also. So yes, you can, Amit, you can query them, yes. So this, if you see this article out here, it's a very nicely written article. Right, so he talks about, actually this data model, etc., has been copied from what you call your documentation of MSDN. So must be you can have a look at this. But what if you see over here, this diagram is of MSDN, right? What this diagram says is the following: that a request operation can come into your application. The application can write trace and metrics information and event and so on. The application can call other dependencies, and the application can have exceptions, right? So from the dependency perspective, there is a request which is a incoming dependency, and then you are making a call there is another dependency. So basically you would like to track what is the parent dependency who called you and you would like to also tell to the child that who was the parent who called him and what is your ID, so that there can be a root of trace, right? So how does it do it? Right now in this whole thing, there are three, let me go and this. So there are, where is this? Why is this Solution Explorer? I'll just close this. So let me just zoom here. So if you see here, he has talked about how these dependencies are, right? So assume you have a function app, assume. So you can see here, there is this function 1, somebody is calling him. So that means there is a request telemetry. So what you will do now, you will say that he is the parent. So some ID you will get out here, right? So you will set his parent, and then you will set the dependency telemetry, and you will make a call to the function 2, and the function 2 will say request telemetry. So basically, if you see out here, this is the first one. You can see ID. This ID is having some ID out here, right? This is nothing but of the first, the person who is calling your function, right? Parent 1. I will not use the word parent, but this is the main ID what is out there, right? So whatever UEGJ04, whatever, right? Now this ID, when this guy calls, this function 1 calls function 2, he makes this as a parent ID. So this ID becomes the parent ID. And when he calls him, that becomes the parent ID. So you can see here, there is an ID which is called by the first, let's say first app 1. And he sends to app 2. What app 2 does, app 2 sets, has his own ID, first thing, his own dependency ID, we can say, right? And he sets this as his parent ID, and then keeps calling. So basically, how do we track it? By using the parent ID, we track it. By using the ID, we track it. Now remember, there is something called as a root ID also. This root ID says that all of this, is called from app 1. So you can see all the root IDs are same. The point what I'm trying to make out here is, you don't have to get into ID and parent ID, but there are series of ID saying that the main caller's ID, then the current caller's ID, then the next caller's ID. So there are series of IDs which are connected, by which I can always go back and track my telemetry, right? So now coming back to this question out here, I would like to demo this, but at this moment already it is 21:45. So here if you see, because for this demo, what I have to do is I have to make one web API or something. That web API will call the other web API. In this web API, I have to set the telemetry ID. In the next web API, I have to consume that telemetry ID and then set the parent and so on, right? So a lot of demo out there, so I will not do the demo. But the point is, this telemetry ID.id is that ID is this one, this last one, sorry, this one, the first one, which says that what is his parent, right? Second one, this context.operation ID will tell what is the current ID. So you will need both of them. To ensure this dependency tracking works, you will need this ID and the operation.id so that you can set the current one, the parent one. Next can set the parent one, the current one, and you keep going ahead until somebody will track it, right? So the answer here is definitely session ID is not there, name is not there, it is telemetry ID. And second, also I would like to point out towards you to this article where there is code also written. So this article also has code written. This article is very dedicated to correlation in application insight, right? And they have talked about a data model out here. So if you see here, let me see if I can show you the code. Not this one, let me, custom operations. Guys, please, I have, every PPT, I have put these things out here. Let me show you the actual code. So here it is, look at this. Let us say if the parent passes the ID, you can get that ID in request-ID. By default, he will send it in the header. You can see he's taking this request ID and he's setting the current ID. He's saying that this is the current operation ID, right? And he's setting, the request ID. So this is from the, when he's receiving the call. If you see down below, somewhere, when he wants to track it, he will just say telemetry.id. He will say telemetry.context. So this is the parent ID and this is the root ID. So root means the person who was there, who called from the start, right? And this is the parent ID, who is the previous parent calling him. So the point here is that by using both of these, I can track my root, my parent, or the current ID as well, right? So the answer is both of them. Any questions, guys? We'll not do this demo, but I hope that you must have understood that from telemetry, we can track correlation. See, this question, what it aims is, this question aims that in Azure, you would be working with a lot of devices. You would be working with a lot of VMs. So web app calling a function app calling an MSMQ, or then a queue calling something else, right? So when you start seeing application inside, it can become very complex. So that's why this kind of hierarchy is given. So they just want, Microsoft wants to ensure that you are aware of the correlation ID. So any questions here? Yes. Any queries? I can see one question out there. Can you show that diagram? Yes, let me show that diagram. Please let me know, guys. Sometimes I flip the screens, thinking that I'm going very slow, but for you guys, it's not slow, right? So, okay, let me show that diagram to you. When I see these articles, I sometimes think that I have to write one article on such kind of things, but I never get a time. You can see request telemetry ID, dependency telemetry ID, and telemetry ID client, right? So three things out there. This is what it is, right? Root ID, you can see the root ID at the last, which says all of these calls are connected with each other, right? So that is that root ID. Parent ID means the next one. For example, let us say you are in this dependency. Who is his parent? This first request. When he is over here, who is his parent? This second request, right? So this code out there, it says parent ID, telemetry ID. Parent means the previous one. Root means for all these correlation, there is a connection, isn't it? From, you want to just, it is just grouping everyone. So that's what this ID is. And if you go to application insight, you will find the word group. Please note, if you go here to application insight, if I say refresh, let me show you. At some place, he also shows dependency. So you can see out here request exceptions, view, trace. Can you see dependency? So when you click on this dependency, you will see those connections, which I talked about here, right? Yes. So just quickly, revising, what we have learned today, so that, first is telemetry. Telemetry means, the English meaning is that you want to send information, you want to gather information from remote places, right? So gather and correlate information from remote places, right? From remote locations. I don't know if I've ever seen, people used to say, send a telemetry message to me. I remember previously in good old days, those keys were pressed. So they were gathering information from a lot of places and then accumulating them, right? Second, there is a difference between debugging. Debugging is done by Visual Studio, F5, F11. Tracing is very application specific. When I say trace.log, I don't get the trace of telemetry information sent from WCF. It is only current, right? But telemetry is more related to dependencies. It is more related to correlating information, right? Third point, I said telemetry information from application will be sent to application insight, which is a Microsoft Azure service, where it can track information like one which you have seen over here, requests and events and exceptions and so on, right? Fourth, to enable telemetry in your ASP.NET Core, you will add a nugget package of that telemetry, first thing. Second thing, in services.add, you will actually go and add it, and then you will put the key of the telemetry into application app settings.json. You can also write custom telemetry messages. So custom telemetry messages also can be written, and you can see that in the custom event. The sixth one, which is important one, is telemetry information in Azure can be correlated, right? So there is a parent ID. Just remember the variables, parent ID, which is the previous parent who called him. This has the previous parent who called him. There is a root ID. This root ID is nothing but one common ID which says that, let us say there is call one going to, there is application one calling application two calling application. All the calls are into one group called as root ID. So this is the main group which says that all these telemetry informations are connected, right? And that question which was around here, if you want to track the, the root ID, then you will say parent ID, it is telemetry.id, right? So here, this is telemetry.id. If you want to track the group, then it is telemetry.operations.id, by which this you can track, right? You can try this demo out. What you can do is create a web API, simple one, make a telemetry, enable it. That web API, call it from a function app. And then try to see telemetry ID and telemetry context.operation ID. You'll come to know the correlation, right? So 6 points to remember out there. Any questions? Yes. Right, so let's go to the chat. Main object is to trace how systems are interacting. Yes, absolutely. If we are just tracking only one application, it is not worth. Yes, absolutely, Viraj, agreed. Yes. Yes, the recordings are all there, Subhash. If you go and if you log in, you will get all the recordings. Right. Okay, guys, so that brings us to the end of this session, because even if I try to take something new out here, actually, I wanted to take one more question, which was around Active Directory and telemetry, but that's a very complex demo. I don't want to go into that. And please let me know, would you like to see this correlation demo of telemetry? Must be I can then arrange one separate session, for correlation, because for this correlation, I have to create 3-4 APIs, call one another, and then show you the tracking. So it's quite a big demo. So I hope that at least the concept is there in the head, so that when you're working with distributed systems in Azure, you can track it. I wish, that some of the points which I really don't like about Microsoft out here is this application inside is also chargeable activity. That is also chargeable. So I feel that somewhere, if I have to start paying for every belt and pant and nail, So I don't know like how this is really fruitful for me. Second, these are just my inputs, guys. Because as a developer, as a consultant, when I go out there, I've seen clients saying that just don't enable application insight. So they enable only when they want it. But these kind of things, Microsoft should start giving up. They should really encourage for developer edition. How we have a developer edition? They do have developer edition, for example, but it is not everywhere. So I hope that, if they can start giving developer edition, I'm ready to pay 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees or something, because they sell in bulk, right? So if they can give, so like, for example, if you see app services, they're doing it. It's not that they're not doing it, but these are, some of my voices, which I feel personally. For example, when I host an app service out here, I do have an option to choose some kind of free things, for example, look at this, I can go here and here there are lots of plans, right? But I can go and I can select a plan, which is a free one. This is a premium one. Where is the, this is, I don't know why it is not showing me, but I can go and I can select a developer edition also. So a lot of services, I'm seeing developer edition. So if they can do this, okay, your developer edition, so app service is there for you at a very cheaper cost, right? And then the application inside is that you can just test it, you can see how it works, and then recommend your company that should you use this or not, right? Now what happens is, even for learning, one is that you have to pay me the money, right, to teach, to learn, right? And second, then again you have to go and swipe your card. So I feel that somewhere this this thing should become like developer edition and express edition, because some of those things like firewall, etc., is pretty much very costly. Okay, can you take one say on Redis cache? Yes, Vinod, can you send a request? We can take one on Redis cache. Right. All different app services should use the same telemetry key to see the telemetry data in one place. Absolutely, yes. If you go and if you create new application insights, see, remember, you can always go and create a lot of application insights here. So I can go, I can create an application insight. You can see this. There's an new application insight. What I do is, for complex application, I do create 2-3 application insights, saying that errors will go to this application insight and this application insight. Sometimes, what happens is only one application insight can become confusing. But yes, you have to use the same key, or else it will not logging in. It will not log the information in that application insight. Right. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot.